So the fourth type of depression is called attachment wound depression. And when we're children, we're completely reliant on our caregivers for survival. If we don't get all the love and attention and nurturing that we need, we come up with reasons for that are based on our own deficiencies, right? We need to explain this by saying there's something wrong with me that I didn't get what I needed, or there's something wrong with me that I was treated that way. Why is this? Because in order to protect the perceived goodness of our caregivers, we have to take on the burden of badness. That's Ronald Fairbairn's language, so that we can see them as good, because we need them to be good to survive. So what happens is, over the course of a relationship, we take on core beliefs about our own unworthiness or about being alone in the world. And we might say to ourselves, if only I'm good enough, I'll get the love that I need. Or if only I'm successful enough, then I will be seen and acknowledged for who I am. And those types of core beliefs, like the if only this, then, they can drive a kind of endless striving and an endless sense of deficiency, of not being enough. And this can show up as perfectionism, alcoholism, or a sense of just never measuring up. A lot of these beliefs are shame-based, and we feel them in our bodies, and we don't necessarily think these thoughts clearly to ourselves. So I read this book called The Valedictorian of Being Dead: My Struggle with Suicidal Depression by Heather B. Armstrong. And the thing about what she tells us, is a memoir, that she had been in treatment for years for depression. She had been taking every kind of medication that was prescribed to her. She had a great therapist who she had a really good relationship with, and she was a good patient. She did everything that the therapist told her to do. That included making changes in her life, like behavioral changes, trying to counteract and contradict any of her negative thoughts, telling herself like, no, stop, that's not true, looking for, the more rational way of thinking and what the evidence told her. She tried to make sure that she wasn't alone all the time. She got help from her mother. She took good care of herself with healthy living habits. And none of this got her out of her terrible, terrible depression. So she heard about this clinical trial for this extreme type of treatment where doctors would give her anesthesia and put her into a flat line, like a near coma, for a full 15 minutes of treatment. And she underwent this treatment 10 times. That was the protocol. And the amazing thing is, this book has a happy ending, because those treatments got her out of this suicidal bout of depression. And so, the hypothesis was that it worked similar to ECT. Sadly, years later, her depression came back, and Heather ended up taking her own life. And I think this tragic story is so important because when I think about it, I look for clues about what kind of depression did she actually have, and were the treatments addressing the underlying issue. And what I find is that she had an attachment wound depression that was never directly addressed in any of her treatments. In the book, she talks about her relationships with her parents and her sense of never being able to be seen or fully understood by them when she was young, even though she had a good relationship with her mother as an adult. But that relational wounding, that attachment wounding, was never fully addressed in therapy. At least she doesn't mention it at all in this book. And the thing about attachment wound depression is it happens in a relational context, and it can only be healed relationally through internalizing a sense of attunement and validation, a sense of being seen, and then being able to let go of those core beliefs and core burdens of inadequacy or deficiency that we took on as a child. So that's an example of how attachment wound depression needs to be healed in a relationship with the therapist or with the self now as an adult from a loving and caring place.